Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. In this video, I also want to take a look at the DXY briefly. Overall, Bitcoin is currently still range bound in the very short term, yeah. And if we zoom out a little bit, and I'm not going to talk about the daily chart, I did that in the last video, but here on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that from a bullish point of view, the larger degree fourth wave bottomed on the 13th of January. This is a plausible interpretation, and we're just waiting for Bitcoin to make a move, essentially. I mean, this is turned into a sideways range-bound move, which is obviously getting more and more, you could say, boring, because the price isn't really doing anything, and it hasn't really done anything for the last 10 days. So really a tight and a really tight range. And overall, however, we are holding above support, which means in the very short term, as long as we're holding above $93,640, I'm still looking for higher prices. This hasn't changed. And the idea would be that from a bullish point of view, which is shown by the yellow scenario, the price has recently bottomed in a B wave off wave 5 after wave 4 bottomed in January. And then the C wave up would be a 5-wave pattern as shown in yellow. Wave 1 done. Wave 2 hopefully done. Third wave could be next, then a fourth wave, then a fifth wave. And in this scenario, support is between $93,640 and $95,470. This is the support area which is relevant for Circle 2, which might have bottomed already on the 12th of February. However, it is possible that this wave 2 is still unfolding. As long as we're holding essentially above 93,640, everything's okay. Bullish count remains intact. Below that level, the yellow count will become less probable, and it will be invalidated with a break below the dotted line here at $91,340. Theoretically then, in this case, yellow wave B could still be unfolding with an invalidation point at 89,200. But based on the context, and given that there won't be much space left to the invalidation points, should we get a sustained and decisive break below support at 93,640, the indication is that we have actually already topped, okay? Not talking about a major top, but that Bitcoin has likely topped in the white count, and we're moving down further towards the 82 to 75K area. And this is obviously a little bit problematic, given that it could just extend the entire correction. And yeah, overall, bullish count remains intact, which is supported by the DXY at the moment. Now, the DXY doesn't necessarily have a direct correlation to Bitcoin, right? Or inverse correlation. It's more related to the macro picture. But once the DXY has formed the top and starts to decline, it can obviously ease global liquidity, make it flow more freely, and that can be good for risk assets. And it might have formed the top in January. It might have formed the top around the 13th of January, exactly on the day where Bitcoin might have formed a low here. Okay. And we've already seen the stock market go up further last week, but Bitcoin hasn't really done much. But generally, I would say a possible declining dollar, and it might have just started. It's very early days. It will be a key week now for the dollar. But should the dollar decline further, this would further support the idea that Bitcoin is still due in at least another rally, right? Now, again, this doesn't necessarily account for short-term fluctuations. There's not necessarily a direct inverse correlation, but a declining dollar would generally be seen as more positive for crypto, even though I'm always careful to talk, when talking about correlations. But there is some on-chain data that supports the idea that Bitcoin will go further as well. If you're interested in that, I'm linking a video here in the on the channel. You see it somewhere in the top right corner or somewhere, where I also talk about the DXY in more detail, as well as some on-chain data for Bitcoin, which does suggest that the rally has likely not finished. Now, all of that, however, doesn't rule out a larger degree wave 4, right? I mean, the dollar doesn't really care about whether Bitcoin goes up directly or forms a deeper 4. This would still be possible even in a bullish scenario. Bitcoin could easily test the let's say the mid 80K region, okay? So that is where risk management comes into play. And for me, the idea of a larger wave 4 becomes much more probable should the market drop below 93,640. In the very short term, you can see that the market is really just range bound, and the idea that this here could be an internal wave 2 is still valid. All I need to do here is to shift the support area a little bit to the right. And yeah, then we'll see if the market can hold above the Wednesday 12th of February low. It's possible that this is another 1-2 setup here. So that from this low on Wednesday, we developed 5 waves up, W, X, Y, and wave 2. And if the market can now break above last week's high, this would be a good indication that we're actually moving up in a third of a third wave, and at least attempt to break out above the February high, which will be the crucial test for the bulls, because that is what eventually needs to be overcome, right? This level at 102,560. So overall, I think it might be a quiet day given that the stock market is closed, but some positive insights there regarding the DXY and some on-chain metrics. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.